with the UpAir 1. What I want to talk about today is Mission Planner and hooking it up to your USB. A lot of guys have been doing the USB mod, and if you can see mine, it's right up inside here. I use the DJI connector, and also DJI makes an extension cable for their NASAs, and it works perfectly. And I wanted mine inside the bird here, so you don't see any holes or any intrusions, and it looks stock. Alright, but the whole idea is for this is to check out your parameters, and you can redo your PIDs, which is how fast this thing moves up and down, and you can, calibrate your compass and calibrate your accelerometer. But give me a minute right now. On the screen here, I'm not going to tell you how to download Mission Planner, but you need to get it. Let me start it up right now so it's starting while we're talking. What it's going to do is boot up, and sometimes it boots up and it tells you need a new firmware. And like I said, you need a really long extension cable, or one long enough that you can move this around, because you're going to have to do some movements. And when it boots up, I'll plug it in, and what you also have to do is find the COM port it's on. That's kind of, you go into your system settings under the USB ports, and when you plug it in or unplug it, it'll pop up, and then you'll know which COM it's on. And the baud rate is something you set for speed on how fast your computer can work and talk with the UpAir or any other APM device. Okay, now that Mission Planner is booted up, I'm going to just plug in my UpAir. And what happens is you'll see lights in there flickering red. I don't know if you can see them. And your USB should find the UpAir. If it doesn't, you need an Arenos driver for your computer, and that's another website that you can pick up a driver for your computer. But I didn't have a problem. I got Windows 7. It popped right up. Anyways, back to the screen here. If you move the UpAir around, you won't see anything move because it's not connected. Like I said, on the right hand side you see a COM port and your baud rate. I know mine is COM 14, and if you hit the drop down, a few different items will pop up, but you got to make sure you're on the correct one. And the baud rate, like I said, is the speed that the UpAir 1 can talk to the computer. So I'm COM 14. I want to run it at the highest baud rate. Hit connect, and when you hit connect, it'll say connecting mavlink. The mavlink is the connection between the APM board and the software. And what I want to tell people is, once it hooks up, you'll see some blue and purple and red lights blinking in here. It's on the board. You really can't see it unless you have it apart, but it is blinking. I don't know if you can see it in there, but just keep your bird on a level spot. That's the other thing. Any table you're working on, make sure it's level. If you got your computer or laptop, just make sure it's nice and level, because some of the things we're going to do, we need to keep it level, so it's telling me it's not connected. Let me hit close and try connecting again without moving it around. Try to keep it still while it's connecting. Okay, now it's getting the parameters. I was moving it around while I was getting the parameters. What the parameters are is what makes the UpAir fly. All the different things that you can change, they're in on the motherboard, and now it's writing it to Mission Planner so you can actually see them. Alright, once it's on there, the lights will turn blue. I don't know if you can see it, but the board is blue now, steady, no blinking lights, because it's actually connected. Also now, if I'm moving it, it usually shows up on the y-axis here. Okay. Sorry, my computer's a little slow. I think Mission Planner is still collecting information. But you'll see the area on the left-hand side where it says disarmed, because I don't have a battery in it to arm it. Those are different things. You can test your motors and everything. But I also got video player moving at the same time, so it's eating up all my memory, so please bear with me. But the screen over on the left hand side should move, and if you look at the red lines to the horizon, it's level. So my UpAir is pretty well level on this table right now. You can also disconnect at any time on the right hand side. So you got a whole mess of options here and so many things that an APM board can do, but I have to tell you, the UpAir 1 is a pretty basic drone. It's probably got the cheapest APM that money can buy, and it's only an 8-bit. The newer ones now is 64-bit, so they can hold a lot of information. And so what I would do is just work my way over to initial setup. The first thing I would recommend you do, the initial setup is where we're gonna adjust the compass, the accelerometer, the radio, and all of that. But I would recommend you go into configure tuning. If you click on configure tuning, this has got basic tuning, extended tuning. This is all the information on your drone right now. You can change this at any time. The speed it flies, the speed it pitches, the speed it yaws, the throttle speed, everything. And when you're done, just hit write params, and it'll write all that information right over to the bird. And you got standard parameters. All right, you can scroll through this. There's tons of information. It's pretty well explanatory. It talks about everything. There's a help button. You have advanced parameters, and you have the full parameter list. I would recommend first thing you go to full parameter list. You go save to file, and I'm going to do one right now. We're going to call it Mike's UpAir. Alright, so Mike's UpAir, and I already have it here saved, so it's using the V3 params. But Mike's UpAir, hit save. Alright, it's gonna, you can keep this information the way it is, which is the date when it was, or just put so you can find it, UpAir. I'll call it version 3, and it's an X frame. Alright, and you hit OK. What it just did is saved every parameter off of this drone on your PC. Alright, and at any time on the right hand side here, you can hit load from a file, scroll through this, and as you can see, I have a few of my quads, my iris, Mike's iris params that I change them. If you change them, you can name them something else. And I have a few in here. The UpAir version 3. I have the Mike's UpAir. I think pretty much one of these is my version 2 I have, which is a 2K camera, and then you got the 4K camera. Alright, so I'm going to hit cancel out of that. So once you save it, and like I said, all these parameters you can change all you want. You can go in here, the value is what you would change, and like your bat volt multi there, you can change this value from 10.45, you can change that to 11 volts, and what will happen at 11 volts, your drone will return home. It gives you all the information that when it hits this point, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to go through it. It would take me a lifetime to go through everything here, but you can play around with it. So once you saved your parameters, let's go back to initial setup. We can check a few things right off the bat. You can install the firmware, which you don't want to do. The firmware's on there. I heard people doing that, and they messed up their UpAir, and you can't get the firmware from UpAir. You can call them all you want. They're just going to laugh at you. I don't know where to get a copy of the firmware, so I wouldn't trust that button. The wizard is a step-by-step thing. If this was a brand new drone, you just put an APM in it, you can do that. You can start from scratch if you want and just rewrite your own UpAir software, but I wouldn't recommend that either. The only thing I would recommend is go to mandatory hardware. First thing you want to check is the frame type. Alright, the frame type on this is an X, okay? Self-explanatory for all the people that are stupid. Alright, it is an X. That's all you need to know. Alright? Now, Excel calibration. This will calibrate the accelerometer and actually calibrate this bird to be level, on a level surface. That's where we want to be level. Alright, now, if you flip your drone around, that is the accelerometer. It has a ribbon cable tied to it. This is your FPV antenna, and this is your RX antenna for your controller. Alright, so anyways, do not put anything magnetic near that accelerometer because you will screw it up and the bird will fly and crash into things. Always remember that. On any type of drone, the external components, do not use magnetic screwdrivers, magnetic tools of any sorts. Don't pull a motor and just lay it right here next to the accelerometer because you will screw it up. It needs to be demagnetized after that, and that's a whole nother video. Alright, so first, what I'm going to do is calibrate the accelerometer. It's going to tell you to do a few song and dance. Tip it this way, tip it that way, tip it this way, but we'll go through it. Alright, let me click the button. You hit calibrate accelerometer. It's going to say place the vehicle on level and press any key. You can press any key or just click the button. Okay, place vehicle on the left side and press any key. The left side, as long as your drone's facing forward, you got your camera so you know where forward is. Try to get it somewhat level. Don't have to be perfect. Click it again. Now it wants it on the right hand side. So let's tip it to the right hand side. Same thing. Just eyeball it. Go by the body. Make sure you're kind of level. Click. Now it's telling me nose down. Nose down is the front of the camera. Nose down. The opposite side of the battery. Alright, so you don't have to be perfectly accurate. You just have to be in the direction. The next one is nose up. Let's tip it nose up. Make sure we're somewhat level. Click. Now it says place the vehicle on the back. There's a trick with that. Front of the bird is the camera. You want to place it on its back, but make sure the camera's facing away from you or the front of the drone's facing away from you. Click next. It says calibration of the accelerometer is successful. Little guy here, successful. Alright, let's put it back on the table, nice and level. Face it towards the controller. Alright, now the next thing, real easy. Level your autopilot to set default accelerometer offsets. One axis HRS trims. This is required to place your autopilot on a flat and level surface. Okay, flat and level. Just gonna push the button. Boom, done. Alright, this tells it that it's level. If you want to check, go back to your flight data button here. Let's click on the flight data. Wait about 4.5 hours because my computer's slow. If you look at the red line on the horizon, it should be pretty level there. And it should be good. And if you move the drone, you can see it tip. And the red is actually the drone. The horizon is what the drone sees. Alright. And it's saying GPS no fix because we don't have a battery. It's not showing battery voltage. But let's go back to initial setup. Now back on initial setup, the big thing that everybody's wondering about why you get toilet bowling and everything is the compass. Now you don't want to mess with anything up here because I'm not even sure what this guy has for an APM. I think it's pretty much the APM and external compass, but what it's going to do is do a quick configure of what you need for parameters for the compass calibration. But we're just going to do a live calibration and just do it from scratch. So over here towards the left you have live calibration. It's the only thing here you need to worry about. Don't touch anything else. It should be already set. Now before I hit this, I'm going to show you. You're going to have to tilt this thing on all kinds of axes, and you'll see a ball on the screen, and what you're trying to do is take the red dot, make a bunch of white dots, and make kind of a sphere. The more of a sphere you got, the better the calibration is, the better the UpAir will fly. Alright, I'll show you in a minute. Let's do it. I'm going to click the button. In the middle it says please click and move the autopilot around on all axes in a circular motion. Hit OK. And you will see it. And make sure your cord doesn't come undone. But what you can do is grab it by an arm, rotate it by that arm, grab the next arm, rotate it on that arm, grab it by the next arm, rotate it on that arm, and if I was watching the picture, I would see that I'm trying to complete a cool looking sphere. Alright, and you can flip it upside down, there's no rhyme or reason. The thing is, it's going to auto detect that it has enough information to calibrate your compass. It's going to make a little fart and a beep. Alright, and the new offsets it's going to tell you is 33-1857. These have been saved for you. Now it saves it onto the drone automatically. You hit OK. Alright, now the last thing. You got, not the last thing, but is radio calibration. Alright, now this is when you can turn your radio on. It's not going to hurt the drone because the drone don't have a battery in it. But being plugged into the USB, it has enough voltage to power the receiver. Alright, so my radio's on, and on the screen it shows all the movements, and all you need to worry about are your 2 sticks and 2 switches. Alright, the scroll wheel and the push buttons are on a different software that works with the gimbal, I think. I haven't gotten that far yet, but if you want to calibrate the radio all over again, I already did mine. To the lower middle right, you have calibrate radio. You push that button, it says ensure that your radio is on and the receiver is powered, which it is. It's connected to the USB. And ensure your motors don't have power to them and no props. And just hit OK. And it says click OK and then move all RC sticks and switches to their extreme positions so that the red bars hit their limits. Hit OK. You'll notice that the screen turns red. There's red lines now. So you want to make sure you get all full movements. You can move them in a circle, move them backwards until they get their full limits. So that's the sticks. What you want to do now is your switches. This is a 3-position switch. Alright, this is a 2-position switch. So you got switch number 7 they call it, and then switch number 5. And it's called radio. Keep them up in the up position. It says click when done. Okay, ensure all your sticks are centered and throttle is down. Don't worry about putting the throttle down. It's a drone. Alright, if you do that, you're going to mess up your thing. Drones are meant to be centered. Alright, hit OK. And it gives you all the parameters on the screen that you need to know. If you understand the information, and just click OK, it's been saved to the radio. Alright, so now you can also, with the radio on, you can check your flight modes. Alright, this is the screen where you can tell these switches what to do. And if you look at the screen, I'm in altitude hold, I'm in position hold, which is loiter, and now I'm in position hold again. So this radio is going to 2 position holds, which this is supposed to be IOC. So I could go in there and change it, and you have all these things. You got return to home. You can make that return to home. You can make it anything you want, but I'm going to leave it as position hold. Simple reason is I think it's IOC when the other switch is flipped. Alright, but anything you change, you need to see it turns blue on the screen, save modes, so it's back to black. Now the second switch is not going to show up here. That's in your failsafe. So you go to failsafe. Alright, it's going to pop up with little warnings. Ensure that your props are not on the plane of the quad. Hit OK. We don't have to worry about it. We have no battery in it. Again, you can also see on the screen the alt hold when you move your switches. Now it says position hold, and right in position hold again. So this is supposed to be IOC smart. So I'm not sure why it's showing up as position hold, but that's the way it's been saved. But you can check number 5 on the screen. and that's what's moving. And now you have your failsafe switch, which is number 7. And if you look in the middle, it's telling you enable radio, and it's enable always, return to launch. So that's how you would set that up. Low battery is 10.6. So that's all okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go back to... I'm going to go back to the flight data screen. Alright, I'm going to shut off the radio. It's been calibrated. The drone's been about the accelerometer, been leveled and calibrated for the compass. So before you do anything, you need to come over and disconnect. Disconnect your drone before you unplug it. Disconnect the USB. Like I said, mine's inside the drone. Everything's out of the way. Alright, you'll hear the beep that the USB is off. And that's how you play with Mission Planner. Just the basics. You can do a ton of stuff with Mission Planner. That's where that if you add the 3DR radios, that you can have follow me, you can have you can do telemetry points, you know, you can set points for this thing to travel or whatever. You can go crazy with it, but you do need to add a few things and a few mods to do that. But anyways, this is the UpAir 1. This is Cruise Roy. Hope it helped you out, and I'm out of here.